Hey yo, this is Nick W. Coming at you with a video about today. I want to talk about Rob Zombie, the filmmaker. I've been wanting to do a Rob Zombie video and just got done working out, and like I said, did the yard. So I'm kind of just laid back and mellow right now, and I thought I'd take a few minutes just to share my thoughts about Rob Zombie, the filmmaker, and maybe go over all of his films. Um, that was my dog, the Cooper Man, guarding the house, acting all crazy. Sorry for the distraction, but he just like snapped up. I was like, oh my god. But I thought maybe I could just do, 2 or 3 minutes on each movie, real quick, and my thoughts. But I'll make it real quick. But we'll start with House of a Thousand Corpses. It was released when I was in college, so it was a long time ago. Um, wasn't into Zombie. Didn't really. I mean, I knew of him, but I didn't listen to his music. So my buddy Andy got me into him. At least got me watching House of a Thousand Corpses. And I remember my initial reaction way back then was, it's cool, I guess, but like I felt like it was just kind of sloppy. I felt like the acting was to be desired. I thought it was pretty weak acting. Looking back, I didn't get what he was trying to do. But at the time, my honest opinions were, it was nice that Zombie put his hand or his hat in the ring of the horror movies, and I'm always down for a fresh director in the world of horror. But I just thought that it was all out of. I mean, I just thought it was disjointed, and I don't think that's what he was going for. But like my initial thoughts was House of a Thousand Corpses was disjointed. Um, but anyway, cut to about 10 years later, I started listening to Zombie. He had a few more movies out, so I went back and watched House, and I started to understand what he was doing. What I thought was bad acting, it's supposed to be cheesy. It's supposed to be funny. I think it's funny as hell. Every time I watch it, I laugh my ass off. I love that movie. I understand that it was supposed to be like a salute to the B movie. Like I should have known Durr, like White Zombie. I mean, Rob is the fan of the ultimate cheap horror, early black and white horror films. So, you live and you learn. You get a little bit more educated on things. But I thought that Spalding and Baby and Otis, I thought that they were great. I know they changed Mother Firefly, but I thought she was great in that first one. I forget her name, but I love her as an actress. Um, but it's a great foundation, what would now become a trilogy. I didn't know back then, but if you look back, just the insanity of the Firefly family and the underground, of the house, like literally underground underneath the house. I love that now. Like I really appreciate it. How how completely off the wall that movie is. I appreciate it. Going to Rejects, Devil's Rejects. Quick story. I um, I actually went to Ozfest a week before it came out, and I saw Zombie perform. And I made my last video was about how I lost my shoes in the mosh pit at that Zombie show, and it was a great time. But the cool thing about it is, it was the Rob Zombie that I saw. He had cut his dreads off making Devil's Rejects, so the zombie I saw had short hair, like short-ish hair, like a collared shirt, button up, jeans, boots, and a straw hat, a cowboy hat. Just sunglasses. Like he was straight chilling. I thought back then, and I think now, it reminded me of if your best friend was Rob Zombie and you had a picnic or a cookout in your backyard, and he came over and rocked out. It just felt like a picnic, or a, not a picnic, but like a cookout. You know, it felt like we were all his guests at his cookout. It was like laid back as hell. It was cool. And I'm guessing not too many people get to see Zombie like that, just as himself, just cool as hell. But anyway, cut to about a week later, Devil's Rejects comes out in theater, and I was opening day, and I got a matinee ticket, and there wasn't a lot of people in the theater because it was like 9 in the morning. Excuse me, but I just remember sitting front and center watching it. And my review of that movie is simple. When I walked out of the theater, way back then, I just thought immediately that I had just witnessed something very special in the world of horror films. I believe it's his masterpiece to this day. Um, the people that I know that don't like Zombie uh, or his films or whatever, they at least all pretty much acknowledge that Devil's Rejects is one hell of a good horror film. Um, like I said, I think it's his masterpiece. I think that it's the best, one of the best openings and credit sequences of horror and or film I've ever seen. I've seen a ton of film, um, past, present, future, future, but well, kinda, but because Three from Hell's on this video. So, um, and then by far top five best endings ever. I can't get enough of it. I watch Devil's Rejects at least 5 times a year. And if I don't watch Devil's Rejects, then I'm watching the 30 Days in Hell documentary. So, um, yeah, I think it's up there in the greatest horror films ever made. It's got this. It's supposed to be in the '70s, and it feels like it's in the '70s. Like hands down, feels like it's in the '70s. Um, but moving on, Halloween, the reboot. Um, I remember going to the theater with Steele, my buddy Steele. We snuck in a bottle of Jack, and um, I think I had a few before, and we sat in anticipation because we are obsessed with the Halloween franchise. Huge expectations. Steele came out afterwards disappointed. I came out and all the way through being like, man, this is awesome. This is like the coolest thing ever. And I'm pretty sure looking back, it was the alcohol speaking at the time. Because I went back and I watched it again sober, and I was like, this movie's like, at the time, I was like, this movie's weird. The whole redneck thing, the redneck Michael Myers and his Myers family, long first half of him as a kid in the institution, whatever. To this day, I'm still kind of on the fence about it, but I give it a pass because uh, he was given the job as writer director, saying, "Do your own thing." And you know what he did? Rob Zombie did his own thing, um, while giving a little bit of homage to the original. So that is what comes to mind. Is that it's like on the bottom of my list of my favorites of his. But the next movie, H2, is actually one of my favorite Halloween movies and probably my second favorite zombie film. I love this movie, and it's funny because when it first came out, I didn't go to see it because I didn't trust it because the reviews were so horrible. And then I waited and I rented it, and I hated it. I hated everything about it. Everybody hated that movie. Cut to about 10 years later, I go back and watch it. And I come out of it thinking, that's a damn good movie. Like, I like everything that he chose in that movie. It's weird what happens, at least with me. 10 years ago, I see a movie and I hate it. And then 10 years later, I go back and I think it's a masterpiece. But his creative choices. The movie is such an original idea of all the Halloween sequels, all the sequels in horror. This movie, he did absolutely anything. He did everything that he wanted to, without giving a damn what anyone thought, and that's what I like about it. Um, I like the idea most that uh, it's almost like it's like a it's like a psychological thriller more than it is a horror movie for me. Um, Michael is, you get inside his mind that he's first time you get to see what he's thinking. The fact that you get to see finally what Michael does from Halloween to Halloween is refreshing. He's a hobo. He's got a big bushy beard. He eats animals that he catches, like, and he can talk. Like, shit, why not? Like, why the hell not? Never been done. Why not try it? And so I respect him. I respect Zombie for that. The Laurie Strode character with the PTSD. First time around, I thought it was obnoxious. Now I sympathize with it because it's about as real as you can get, and no horror movie ever deals with it when there's a sequel. It's like, oh, I survived a serial killer. My life's moved on. Blah blah blah. But this one, like, she is teenager and she is screwed up in the head, and so is Danielle Harris. Like, she's all scarred up, and everybody's like, there's consequences from the first movie, which I gotta respect Zombie doing. And then, of course, the Knights in White Satin Hollow Hospital dream sequence is one of the best sequences in horror, in my opinion. Um, just bottom line. So moving on, Lords of Salem, man, underrated as far as I know, underviewed, man. If you watch this video and you haven't seen Lords of Salem, go check it out. It is, to me, it is Zombie honing his craft and coming up with. I mean, it's just easy to watch, yet it's, if you have the lights out, you know what I mean? It's nighttime. You got a candle burning. Like, it's creepy. The atmosphere is creepy as hell. And Sherry Moon Zombie does a great job in that movie. The whole movie rests on her shoulders, and I think she carries it to perfection. Um, and just like a side note with that movie, the record, the demonic record that plays in the movie, that's a major plot point that hypnotizes everyone when they hear it. I've been reading in the past that, like, audience members that watch it actually start feeling nauseous and, like, weird. And I tip my hat to Zombie for that one because I personally don't feel that. But if that's true, that's the sign of a filmmaker that is doing something right. When music can fuck with the audience, and not just have flashy lights and everything, but just like music, like calm music, like hypnotizing music. It's crazy. I gotta respect that. So it's on the top of my list. I'll probably watch it this weekend because I've been craving it. So anyway, if you haven't seen it, check out Lords of Salem. Underrated, underappreciated. And then last but not least, we got 31. And with 31, I got a quick story behind that one. About 2 years ago, I took my wife down to see Zombie and Korn. It was her first quote unquote metal concert, and or heavy metal, heavy rock, whatever the hell you want to call it. And what do you know? Zombie was promoting it, promoting another movie, 31. And about 2 days later, literally, we went to go see it at the theater, and it's a limited release, like 2 or 3 days. But we had tickets. We went to go see it, and I got to admit that what hits like right off the bat is Doomhead steals the show for me. That actor, I wish I knew his name off the top of my head, but I love that actor. When he's talking to the audience for the first 10 minutes of that film, just his face right on the big, like, bloody black and white, like talking to you, I was like, that's sweet. You don't see that every day. Yeah. And then, but as the movie went on, have to admit that I felt at the end of it that I felt like it was weak, like it was lazy. I felt like, and that's hard. It breaks my heart to say that, but I just felt like it was a lazy effort on Zombie's part at first viewing. Okay, but then after I saw it, um, there was an interview with Zombie because it was a special viewing, and he straight up says after the movie, he's like, I had no idea. People said make a movie, here's some money, and I had no idea what I was gonna make, so I just threw shit together. So to his credit, at least he admits that he wasn't trying to reinvent the wheel. But again, years later, upon further viewings, I've come to really appreciate it. And if it's one of those movies, a popcorn movie, you just sit back. You're a horror movie fan, sit back, put it on, drink a beer, chill out. It works. Um, and I kind of consider it like a love letter. I think it was Zombie's love letter to his fans. You know, it was just okay. Make a movie, make a Rob Zombie movie, and he made a Rob Zombie movie, and it's fucked up. So, what more can you ask for? Uh, so that leads me into now with Three from Hell right around the corner, and I got tickets front and center. It's a limited release, 2 or 3 days around the country. Again, I'm ready for it. I just feel lucky that he made a sequel to The Rejects. There's one thing. Okay. So Sid Haig is almost 80 or is 80 years old. My wife and I checked it out when we realized he's 80. We're gonna spend extra attention on him because he's the backbone of the trilogy, and you never know, it could be his last film. So I'm gonna watch out for that. I like that the trailers aren't giving too much away, so you have no idea because trailers today give everything away, and it pisses me off. But Zombie seems to be staying away from that. I like the idea that Doomhead, the actor, is now the third wheel of the Devil's Rejects. That just works for me because he stole the show in 31, and he's hilarious in H2 as the paramedic. So anyway, I like I said, it's right around the corner. I'm super excited. I just wanted to give you my 2 cents real quick, even though it's 17 freaking minutes on Zombie, the filmmaker. But I hope you enjoyed what you heard. If you didn't, let me know about it in the comments. Or if you did, let me know about it in the comments. But I'm looking for my 20th subscribers. So if you see this video, you like it, hit that subscribe button. Anyway, thanks for listening, and peace.